Hey everyone, I'm Spencer Elliott. I'm doing my project on the autobiography of Henry Ford. The book is called My Life and Work. I chose to do my project on Henry Ford after visiting the Ford's Garage restaurant in Brandon, Florida. Here is an actual picture of the menu from that evening where I read about the autobiography of Henry Ford and decided to use him for my project. A few days later, I saw this notification in one of my apps which reassured that I should use Henry Ford for my Creative Luminary project. On page 8 of the book, you will find this quote, which truly shows why he was a master of the creative process. Ideas are of themselves extraordinarily valuable, but an idea is just an idea. Almost anyone can think up an idea. The thing that counts is developing it into a practical product. Henry Ford was a man who believed that hard work trumped everything else and that the money should follow. He was motivated daily, not by the thought of retirement, but rather by the ability to provide service and value to society. He was persistent and was unable to separate his personal life from the work he loved. He was less concerned with how he would be perceived by public opinion and more focused on producing his passions. His creative process was partially experimentation, but always involved intensive planning. The three most interesting things I learned about his creativity are as follows. The first is Ford as a master mechanic and inventor. Henry Ford pursued the horseless carriage against much opposition. The common perception was that it would never amount to being more than just a toy. It didn't matter to him because he was driven to create a car no matter if there was a demand or not, because he was passionate about creating something from nothing. He said, "No work with interest is ever hard." He also believed that life flows, and that it was dangerous for a man to feel settled or complacent because progress would leave him behind. Ford always had an eye to the future, and planned every step of the way there. He was constantly making iterations to his original model with the goal of having a universal car, the Model T. He said, "Many inventors fail because they cannot distinguish between planning and experimenting." The second learning objective is Ford as a creative businessman. Throughout the earlier years of the automobile industry, there were many bad business practices, including companies coming out with models that were simply new, but not any better. The Ford Motor Company did the opposite by focusing on service for the customer and did not try to exploit them with costly repairs. His only goal was to create value for the customer, and he believed that if a car broke down, that it was his own fault. He created a whole new way of doing business in those days that put people before profits. The last learning objective is Henry Ford, the creative marketer. Ford was excellent at creating hype around his inventions. Although he never intended to make cars for speed, he knew that he needed to stand out. So to gain credibility, he built cars that won races. This exposure helped him to sell cars early on, but as was common in this era, customers wanted customization of the automobile without paying a premium. Ford announced that any customer can have a car painted in any color that he wants as long as it's black. Everyone believed this business model would bankrupt the company, but Ford knew that a lower production cost meant cheaper cars for everyone, and standardization became the new industry norm. Some methods to adopt to further our own creative processes are to continually make changes to our ideas and be persistent in the face of doubt. Do not follow what others are doing and stick to your passions. Experiment and plan. Embrace failure as an opportunity to do better next time.
Please check out the full citation for Henry Ford's autobiography here.